Hey, it's Kalyna from Kickstart Your Work, and welcome to video 3 of the Work Online and Travel series with Girls Who Travel. I am so excited because today we are going to bust through the 3 top reasons why women don't start working online, don't do the traveling they want to do, or generally just why they don't accomplish the dreams that they have. So, I've really seen this from my coaching practice, but I will say that honestly, I make all 3 of these excuses too at different times, and I'm really working on being honest about when I'm making one of them and how I can make the switch to the outcomes that I really want to be having in my life and my business. So, how do you do that? Well, let's start with biggest excuse. Number 1, time. I don't have the time. What do you do with that? Well, what we're going to do today is with this and the other 2 excuses, we're going to take them, we're going to flip them and find a turnaround phrase that you can say to people or yourself when you feel like you're coming up with that excuse. And we're going to take a look at the activities that you find are coming up with these excuses and how you can shift them around to really start doing the things you want to do, including working online or doing that big trip that you want to do, or maybe it's both. So, with time, most people, it's just I'm too busy, I can't, I have too much on my plate, and really it's an excuse, and it's hard to admit, but we really make time for what we believe is a priority. And so what I would say is I'd invite you to make a list of all the things you find you're doing on a daily or weekly basis, and then once you have that free flow list, so give yourself a couple of minutes to just write all the things that come to mind, and then once you're done, prioritize them, so level of importance. A is most important, B is meh, and C is, yeah, I could do away with this. And once you've done that, you'll see that the C items often actually take up a lot of our time. We're not super into them, and we could potentially find other ways to get them done, get some help doing them, or maybe just they're time wasters and get rid of them completely. Once you open yourself up to having more time, problem solved. What's the turnaround statement to I'm busy or I don't have enough time? It's not a priority right now. Or there are other more important things going on for me right now. I like the one saying it's not a priority right now. I find that because, priorities change and then it doesn't make me feel like I'm never going to do it. But I have to be honest with myself about what is a priority and what isn't. We do this naturally already with really what we choose to spend our time on, but this is a conscious way of bringing it to light for yourself to say, wait, this actually just isn't going to be in my schedule because I'm not committed to making it happen right now. And that's okay. But knowing that for yourself is really the key point. So go ahead, make your list of items, rank them, and then see how you can get rid of a few of those B or C items so that you can do a little bit more of that research for the trip you want to take or on that position that's totally remote so you can start working online. I'll see you back for reason number 2. Okay, reason number 2, the biggie. I mean, number 1 was pretty big, but this one is classic. Money. I don't have enough money to do this. It can be anything, but for today's purposes, of course, we're talking about travel and we're talking about working online, right? I don't have the money to just quit my job and go fully freelance right away. That's okay. You made that list of things you're going to get rid of. Maybe it'll take you 6 months. Doesn't mean you can't get the money, and it doesn't mean that you won't make the money from working online, and it certainly doesn't mean that you can't afford travel because it is so much cheaper than most people think. The flight is a huge cost, of course. In all reality, it's probably one of the bigger costs, but depending on where you go in the world, I lived in Brazil for like $2,000 a month doing whatever I wanted, activities, and traveling around the country. So really, what I would say around money is, again, going back to that priority list, and if making this happen right now, if it's not on that A level priority, then that's a different kind of question, right? But if we're talking money purely and you really want to make this happen, then with money, I would say from now until next year, I would, on your page, write out each month, write out your monthly expenses. If you don't know them, then pause and really get in there and think about, okay, what income would I need in order to either take a month off and travel and do it that way, or if you want to work simultaneously, what is the salary that I would have to make in order to justify this? What would I need per month in order to be able to cover my expenses, the travel ones, and any fun stuff and any other obligations you have? What is that number? And from there, you can really start calculating quite easily what it looks like to work per hour and how many jobs or clients you'd have to have. That's a bigger story. But for now, what I would invite you to do is, with the time that we have today, go through, figure out month by month what you really see for the next year with money and what your priority is there and what income level you'd have to have based on your current expenses. Another thing to note as well with money, I would say as an excuse, is that sometimes it's just a really great cover for fear. And I know even with myself, running a retreat for women in Chiang Mai, Thailand, it was easy to say, well, but what if we don't have enough people, or we don't make enough money from it, or how am I going to do this? And really, there was an element of trust in it and good planning. And it turned out amazingly, and I would never go back or say I regret it. So oftentimes I find that when we do put money into places that we're really passionate about, we can't really go wrong. So if you're here, which you are, and you've committed to watching this series, which you have, you clearly have a passion for travel and an interest to make some money while you're doing it and maybe travel for a longer period of time. So I would listen to that intuition. I certainly did when I made the switch to working fully online, and really give the money thing a deeper thought around how to make this possible. We're talking solutions here, right? And I think you've come so far already in this series that it would be such a shame to lose you from something that I think just requires a couple of tweaks. So write out that income, write out what you would need to do in terms of freelance income to make that trip to Iceland or that really cool cruise a reality. And I'll see you back for reason number 3. It's a good one. Welcome back. So reason number 3 is one of those intangibles that I think we could make this excuse for the rest of our lives, and it's experience. I don't have enough experience. I've never done freelance. I've never done freelance in the thing that I do now at work. Oh man, as women, I think that's one of the biggest things, right? Is it's the same vein as confidence is, well, I don't have experience. I've never done it before. And what I have to say to you is that is the whole fun of this. Running my first retreat, writing my first book, doing my first TEDx talk, starting my first company, doing this first video series for you guys. It's always going to be nerve-wracking. And I think that, if a baby, for example, said every time they fell, oh man, I fell last time, so I shouldn't even bother, none of us would walk. And I know that's maybe a silly or seemingly irrelevant example, but the reality is, as children, we were so willing to just try and see what happened and reiterate. And that's what this process is going to take. Just like going to the gym, just like a relationship, just like literally anything you do in your life, getting really great at making roast potatoes. When I think about it, anything in my life that I've gotten good at and feel confident about, it was through experience. But there was a time when I didn't have it. And so what I would offer up for you is around just even anything close to the type of work that you can see yourself doing online. I would invite you to write down some experiences that you've had that you really feel have shaped you. Things that you're, again, proud of, but more from an experiential standpoint. So something that you've accomplished or achieved, something that you've done that you think could directly relate. Does not mean it's the same thing. So for example, with the retreat I ran, sure, I'd never hosted a retreat for women. However, I'd been traveling for a really long time. Or even the first time that I went to Brazil, I hadn't been traveling that long at all. I'd never been away from Canada for more than, I think, a month, not even maybe 2 weeks or a month. And I went on this trip and I stayed for 3 months. And then the next time I stayed for 6. And what I said to myself was, okay, I'm going to a place, I don't even know the language, don't have any experience with this, or South America. How am I going to do this? And what I came up with was that I took French in school. I like meeting new people, and I do my best to learn from the people around me. And so I figured, you know what, with those skills, I can totally do this. It doesn't mean I wasn't scared or that I didn't want to back out at times. But what I would say around that is having those skill sets similar to your reasons why or those confidence boosters, having them present in your mind when it comes to these new steps that you're taking in your lifestyle, it's so huge to just have this paper or the document that you have and just be able to look at it and say, wow, I really do actually have skills and experiences that have prepared me for what I'm about to do in my life. So take a couple minutes, write out the skills that you think will help you along the way of traveling, along the way of meeting new people, working on new projects, even developing new skills. Are you willing to learn? That's a skill in and of itself, somebody that's willing to learn. And so I could say the fact that you're here watching this guarantees you that you're willing to learn because you're here. So there's one for you, and I look forward to seeing you back after you've written your list of skills and experiences that make you feel like the total badass that you are. Hey, have you finished? I certainly hope so, because today was a huge day and I'm just absolutely proud of how far you've come. You're now more than halfway through this video series. Congratulations, you have just busted through the 3 biggest excuses that people make when it comes to living out the lives that they want to live, and I'm so proud of you. Amazing job. I will see you in video 4 and look forward to unfolding how working online and traveling is really going to work for you. You're doing an amazing job, and thank you so much for being here.